Hey everyone, welcome to the Industry Show. I'm your host Nitin Bajaj, and joining me today is Ahana Gautam. Ahana, welcome on the show.
Nathan, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to do this.
Great to have you here. So let's start off with who is Ahana?
Um, I would say three things. First and most importantly, a proud daughter. I lost my mother to COVID few days back. And I won't be exaggerating if I say that whatever I am today is because of her. She raised both me and my brother single handedly in a small city in Rajasthan. She was a working mother, and she's still the most, I would say, the strongest person I've ever met in my life. Has been a role model throughout my journey. In Bharatpur, she was constructing a house, she was managing work, she was managing two kids, she was managing house, cooking, cleaning, everything. So she was a superwoman, and she always encouraged me to have wings to go and pursue dreams. And this is very different, the part of the country where I come from. A girl hearing this from a parents that you should have dreams beyond marriage is wasn't something which was very common. So I think she was someone who taught me how to break glass ceilings, how to not fall into the societal traps. And I think I feel that it's my responsibility to keep her legacy alive. So yeah, firstly I would say a very proud daughter. Second, I would say a constant learner. My journey, as I said, it started from a really small city in Rajasthan called Bharatpur. Then I went to IIT Bombay. Coming to Bombay, I didn't know anything. Like, I didn't know how to speak in English. I didn't know how to talk. I didn't know what to wear. And to be very honest, I had zero confidence. And I thought this is something which you can taught yourself. And I'm a product of the effort that I have put into myself every single day. So every single day I wake up, I try to become a better version of myself. Even when I went to Harvard Business School in US, right, that was my first time going to United States. It was a completely new culture, but I made it a part of me. So for me, it's extremely important that I'm aspiring to be a better version of myself, and that is something which keeps driving me. And third thing, I would say purpose. I think death death teaches you a lot, and it gave me this brutal realization that how short and fragile life is. So you make a meaning out of it. And from the very beginning, I think the kind of person I am, I was never driven by anything else but creating an impact with my life, with my work that I'm doing. So even with my startup, it's extremely important for me to create a purpose driven brand, and for myself to have a purpose driven life. So I would say purpose. So yeah, three things I would say: a proud daughter, a constant learner, and a purpose driven person.
Ahana, sorry for your loss, and I'm sure your mother is looking upon you and continues to be proud of your achievements. And one thing I must mention, Bharatpur to Bombay to Boston, back to Bombay. That's been quite a journey, and we're looking forward to hearing and sharing some of that with our audience. Let's talk about your startup, Open Secret. Tell us what it is about. Who's your customer? What's the size and scale of your operations today?
Yeah. So the reason why I started Open Secret actually it goes back to my childhood.
Mhm.
I remember I used to come back from school, would open the lock, and would eat all the junk which was available in the house. And I used to be a very overweight kid. I would be like 3x my current size, and I would fall sick all the time. And at that time, of course, I didn't have the kind of awareness that what you eat is such an integral part of your health and wellness journey. But I think that experience stayed with me, and it was unfortunately only when I was studying at HBS I realized how conscious people were in US about what they were putting inside their body. And if you go to any grocery store, right, whether it's Trader Joe's or Whole Foods, there will be an aisle full of healthy and tasty
Mhm.
snacks. And at the same time, when I was studying at HBS, my sister-in-law back in India, she was still facing issues in finding tasty and convenient and healthy snacks for my niece. And for me, it was very clear that this problem, which my mother also faced, has transcended generation.
Mhm.
And as I started reading more about it, I realized that Indian families have no option but to eat junk. And the question I ask myself, why don't they have better options? And if you research, you will find that India is one of the most unhealthy packaged food countries in the world. And this snacking industry, it's more than $12 billion, huge size of price, a big problem. And I think that's how it became my core mission, that how can we make every Indian family snack better. And with that purpose, with that mission, I actually worked with journals in the US because I really wanted to understand consumer first innovation. And then I came back to India to start Open Secret. And the brand that we are creating, right, we are for the families. We want to give access to tasty, because taste is extremely important in India. People love their food. Convenient, because mothers are extremely busy. And of course, health first. So the core consumer, I would say, is the mother. She wants the best for the family, and she's also a north star. Whatever we are creating, we just follow her advice. She asked us to create maida free cookies. She asked us to create chips without any without the fry, the potatoes and everything. So we are creating an authentic, honest brand uh, for mothers, by mothers, so that families in India have access to healthy, taste, and convenient snacks throughout the day.
That's quite a mission. And, in this journey, where are you in terms of the size and scale? I know you're based in Bombay, but
Yeah,
sounds like you're operating across the country, and India being such a big country with different tastes, from
yeah,
state to state. Give us an insight and a glimpse into what your products are and how you're catering to these tastes.
yeah. I think that's an excellent question, Nitin. So I would say that what Open Secret is. We want Open Secret to become a consumer first platform with a
Mhm.
very high innovation velocity. So what does that mean? That consumer can come to our platform and they will find solutions to all their different snacking needs throughout the day. So we are just 15 months old brand, but what we've been able to accomplish is launching into multiple categories
Mhm.
so that consumers have variety. So we started with cookies, because sweet snacking is something which is the most penetrated form of
Mhm.
snacking in India. Like 99% penetration. Almost every household in India, they eat a biscuit or a cookie. But there were no tasty and healthy cookie available. It's a $4 billion category. It's so bizarre, I know. So that's where we started. We started with nutty cookies. And then the mother came to us and said, can you give me something in savory? Because my kids love eating chips and I hate giving chips to my kids. So we started unjunking chips, and then we gave her chips. And then she said, can you make my mornings easier? Because I don't want to give the standard chocolate spread. So that's how nutty spreads came into existence. And then the lastly, she said, you make everything nutty, nutty cookies, nutty chips, nutty spreads. Can you give us nuts, which the kids would love to eat? Because I have heard stories where parents would give nuts to their kids and the kids would just throw it and they will not eat it. So how can we make nuts so tasty that the kids are actually asking for it? So the whole idea is, if you see the common thread, what we're doing is we are unjunking the
Mhm.
family's favorite snacks. You love to eat what you want to eat, right? We just remove the junk and we will add 40 to 50% nuts so that you are getting the right nutrition as well. So this is from a product portfolio perspective, that a platform strategy that we are going after. And also from a distribution perspective, we are an omni-channel brand. And I believe that every channel plays a very strategic role. So through our e-commerce, through our direct to consumer website, we are actually available to all families throughout the country. And in fact, if I take example of marketplaces, more than 60% of our sales come from outside top cities. And that is because we are building for Bharat and India. We are building not only for the mother in Bangalore, but we are also building for a mother in Bharatpur, and she resonates with the kind of product and value proposition that we have. We also understand in India, it's a very offline driven market. So
Mhm.
within certain four cities, we also have deeper penetration with offline, like Bombay, Delhi, Ahmedabad, Bangalore, and I would say other online platforms as well. So the whole idea is to build this omni-channel muscle so that you are becoming more and more accessible to the customers.
Makes sense. What's the, as you're growing and scaling and catering to these different needs and tastes. What's the biggest challenge you're facing as an organization?
Um, I would say the biggest challenge that we are facing is also what the world is facing, right? The COVID. In fact, just starting today, Bombay will actually go into another lockdown for the rest of the month. But the way we see Nathan is how can we make this challenge into a biggest opportunity? And this is something which I tell to my team as well, that never let a crisis go to waste. And for the past, when we launched the product, it was November, December 2019. Within 3 months, lockdown happened.
Mhm.
So we all are hustling individually. We all are working from home for the past 1 year, but have been very focused on in ensuring that we are not thinking it as a challenge but as an opportunity, and that's what we did. Like, we grew 7x in the last 6 months.
Wow.
We expanded into three more categories outside cookies. We became bestsellers on Amazon and Big Basket and other marketplaces. So the whole idea is to, bring that problem solving mindset and ensuring that you are just innovating for the consumers. And of course, there are certain COVID tailwinds that people are more aware about what they're eating and just giving them what they're asking for.
Well, those are some amazing numbers. 7x in a lockdown for a new brand that's less than 15 months old. Kudos to you and your team for
I
those
would say it's
accomplishments.
entirely, yeah, it's just the team because, we have this big dream of making every Indian family snack better. It wouldn't be possible without the fantastic team who are not only great at what they do, but also very driven by the purpose. And I think that's why it's not a concern for me that people are working from home, because I know everyone wants to do their best and they don't have to sit in front of me to prove that.
In some ways, I'm still thinking about that 1% of households that don't eat those cookies. I'm sure you'll get to those guys as well.
I will try my level best.
On the flip side of challenges are opportunities, right? And as you have pivoted and made the most of this adverse situation, what are some of the biggest or the biggest opportunity you're looking at targeting right now?
I think, Nathan, the biggest opportunity in front of us is the market that we are going after. For decades, if you think about the entire snacking market, it's more than $12 billion market,
Mhm.
and dominated by the incumbent brands. Like, let me take an example of biscuit and cookies, like $4 billion category, and three brands, ITC, Britannia, Parley, they have more than 70% market share. And these big companies, they have amazing brands, but they have not innovated. I mean, even in the sweet categories, right? Sweet snacking, there has been little to no innovation. And what we want to do is we really want to become a challenger brand and disrupt this huge category. So the biggest opportunity that I see, Nitin, is it's a very supply constrained market. Families in India, they're demanding better products. They're demanding products which are more authentic and more transparent and giving them a lot of variety. And there is not a single brand which is creating a better for you products for families. And I think that's who we want to become. We really want to become a household name in India, and serve these families. So that's the big opportunity for us.
Indeed, it's a huge potential, and going off of what you've been able to accomplish in the last 15 months, despite all of these challenges, I think you're getting there pretty soon. So kudos on that. Tell us about a lesson learned or a success story, where there was a roadblock and, you know, you guys did what you had to do, and now you look back on it either as a lesson or as a success that you're really proud of.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like every single day, to be very honest, every single day there are things that you have to fight for. And I think one thing which I've realized, I mean, there are multiple instances that I could share, but the most important thing, the brahmastra, I would say, which is available for all the startup, is your customer. And I know that it's sometimes it's easier said than done, but don't build a brand for investors, don't build a brand for social media, don't build a brand for anything but for your customers. So I've realized that whatever the situation is, if you want to improve your NPS, if you want to improve your retention, if you want to create a blockbuster product, the answer has always been stay very close to the customer. And this is something which we have seen even during the lockdown. We started with just a two cookie pack. And the mother came to us and she said, my entire family is eating your cookies in the evening when someone is having a coffee and a tea, and this is not a sufficient box for me. Can you give me a bigger pack? And we said, yeah, sure. And then, as I said, she demanded a variety of products, and our NPS went from 34 to 64. And I think that is something, a retention improved 3x. I think this is something, as you're solving complex business problems, sometimes the answers are extremely simple.
Mhm.
Just follow the customer and make your customer a true North Star.
That's a beautiful example. And yeah, who would complain about more cookies?
Yeah.
Let's switch gears a bit and talk about you. Uh, and the way we want to do this is through some one line life lessons that have either come to you or you have come to realize or even create them. So would love to hear some from you.
Yeah. I think the first one, if I can, and I'll translate if I can say it's in
Sure.
Hindi.
Of course.
And this is something which my mother always used to tell me, because I think as a kid, I was like a very crybaby. After every exam, if I didn't get good marks, I would cry. And sometimes I would still get the best marks. But
Of
after the
course.
exam, I would feel that I am the worst student and I do this. And I still remember those words. It's a very famous Hindi saying which says, रहीमन चुप है बैठिए देख दिनन के फेर जबनी के दिन आएंगे तनक न लागी देर. And this means that be silent in your bad times, be patient, because good times will come pretty soon. And I think that has stayed with me throughout, because especially in a startup journey, right? It's a roller coaster ride. There would be ups and there would be downs. And those words by my mother that, the good days are just around the corner. Be patient and just keep hustling, keep hard work. And I think this has stayed with me and is something which is very, very important to me. I think that is number
So
one.
valuable. So valuable, especially with, like you said, as an entrepreneur, going through the ups and downs, you're going to get knocked down, whether it's your customers, the external situations, or just even economics and finances, right? So
Yeah.
such a valuable lesson.
Yeah, and I think the second lesson I would say, Nitin, is what my brother taught me is never outsource the most difficult problem.
Mhm.
As a CEO and co-founder of the company, a lot of times people ask me, what functions are you leading? And for me, the answer is the head of the organization. I'm solving the most difficult
Mhm.
problems, whether it's setting up the culture, right? I think it's extremely important, it's extremely difficult, and that should come from me. I cannot maybe hire an HR person and ask them to build the culture. It has to come from me. Again, like setting the vision, ensuring that people understand the vision. Again, the most difficult and critical should come from me. I think this is something which has stayed with me. And it doesn't, it helps me not to shy away from making your hands dirty. If it's the most difficult, you should be there at the forefront. I think that would be the second. Um, the another one I would say, which I've realized and I've started appreciating, is um, having the right mindset is everything. When you see a problem, do you start solving it or do you start worrying about it? And I think this has completely changed my perspective. I remember earlier, I always used to start worry about a situation. It would be, and that used to be my reflex action. If something shitty has happened, oh my God, why did it happen?
Mhm.
This is really bad. Used to like constant stress and worry, and it's like circle. But it's not productive at all. You will go and discuss it with other people. This is what has happened. And then I realized that rather than putting all your energy in worrying it, just bring that solution mindset. Okay, this
Mhm.
has happened. What are the three most possible solutions to this problem and how can I solve it? And I think if you start practicing it every single day, I can promise you, you will see a big shift. And there are, I think every difficult problem has a solution. So I've realized that it helps you uh, become very, very solution focused. And also, when your team are reacting, when your team is reacting in a stressful manner, you can also teach them that, okay, take a pause, let's be solution focused, let's discuss what are the ways that we have in front of us. So again, I think a very important practice, I would say, which I try and do every single day.
Mhm.
uh, the I think the couple of other things I would say, one is the world is changed by example, not
Mhm.
opinion. And while growing up, I have heard a lot of opinions. I remember when I was preparing for IIT, a friend of my mother, she was also a professor. So from education perspective, you would say that she's pretty aware. But she came to my mother and she said, why are you encouraging her to go to IIT? Where will you find a group for her? Your son has gone to IIT, so your IIT dream has been accomplished, but will make your life miserable. And I think I've realized that you don't have to react. You don't have to make say words, but you need to set your example. And for
Mhm.
me, what I want to do is show all the girls in Bharatpur that it's not only about my journey didn't stop at IIT, right? I went to Harvard Business School.
Mhm.
Just show them that if I can do it, you can do it as well. So just keep working, keep setting good example, because it's important for privileged people like us who got a seat, who got the best education, who got the best experience, to create something, and to give back and try and make this world a bit fairer to everyone.
So true. Simple but so powerful. Very well put.
And the last one I would say, which is like, every deep dreamer would say that people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do it. I remember when I was in US, I had this in my room, and this is so true. And I remember, just to give you an example, when I was coming back to India, uh, people were like, "You're coming back to India to do a startup? Like, why would you do that?" And they said, "Maybe you didn't get a visa. Is that the reason?" And I said, "I do have H-1B. I have a visa, but I'm making a choice to come back to my country and to make a difference." And then once they realize I have a visa, the second question was, "Okay, maybe she's coming back because she's getting married." And I why people have such a difficult time digesting that a single ambitious girl in her early 30s can move continents because of professional reasons and because she wants to create a meaningful impact in the world. So I think just stay crazy. People will have opinions, and you should believe. And I think people who are believers are actually the doers.
That again, I'm at a loss for words. I have personally seen and experienced the, for lack of a better term, that bias, that lens that people
Yeah,
tend to put you through when you make such decisions that seem to be out of the contrary or out of the context, or seem contrary to common sense.
yeah,
But like you said, I mean, I couldn't have said it better. uh, be crazy enough, right? And then the
yeah,
rest just follows.
absolutely, absolutely.
Hana, thank you for making the time and sharing your journey and your lessons with us and our audience. We really appreciate you making the time for this, and we wish you all the success in your continued journey. We'd love to have you back on and see what newer and bigger milestones you and your team have accomplished. But thank you.
Thank you, Nitin, for having me. It was a pleasure chatting with you, and thank you for all your kind words. Really appreciate it.
Pleasure is all ours. Thanks, Ahana.
Thanks, Nitin.